Bitcoin's price action has been rather interesting over the last few days. So I thought it's worth making a video just to have a quick look at what's happening and is it actually possible that we will hit a new all-time high within the next couple of days. I'm Andy, this is Crypto Like a Pro, a channel where I talk about everything crypto, NFTs and Web3 related. 3 or 4 days have been rather interesting for the whole crypto space. Bitcoin went from around 52k to, well, at some point 64k, which is actually very, very close to the previous all-time high, which is just shy of 70k. Basically, at some point we were within 10% price difference from that previous all-time high. There was quite a bit of correction during that day. So after the spike to 64k, we had a dip to around 59 or so, or even, in fact, it looks like it was below 58, 57. But then the price recovered quite quickly to around 60, just above 60k level. This move is a bit surprising because although it's very clear that we're in an early stages of a bull run, well, we didn't even have halving yet. And such parabolic price action is quite surprising this early in the market cycle. Or more specifically, it's not the move itself that's surprising, it's the fact how close we are getting to the previous all-time high. If we look at the previous market cycle, we would need to look at the period in early 2020. That was essentially when the halving was in May 2020, which is, let me zoom in and then move some of it out of the way so we can see those prices a bit more clearly. So basically that was the period right here. Halving was in May 2020. And well, at that point, if you look at the price action around here shortly before the halving and after the halving, there were some ups and downs, but basically we're oscillating around $9,000. $9,200 was probably the average. The previous all-time high was just shy of 20,000, so that's not even 50% of the previous all-time high. Of course, we had this big dip here, which was the COVID dip. And if you look at what was happening before that, well, actually the price was climbing nicely in very early 2020. And it was only really mid-February. So, well, kind of similar time to where we are now when it started dipping. And well, that of course has to be attributed to COVID. But even if the price continued going up, even if COVID never happened, well, that was mid-February. We are now at the end of February. It's plausible that Bitcoin would go maybe somewhere around here. 12,000, 12 and a half, 13 maybe. Even if it was very, very rapid move up, I mean, maybe it would hit about 14k. I think that's already pushing it. That's still quite far away from 20k. What happened yesterday was essentially Bitcoin getting within 10% from its previous all-time high. Well, that would mean that back in 2020, it would have to go all the way up to around 18k. And it was just nowhere near. I mean, that wouldn't happen within that time frame. So basically what I'm trying to say is that we've never been so close to the previous all-time high so early in the market cycle. But at the same time, what's quite surprising is that even though the crypto fear and greed index is in extreme greed, and in fact it's been in extreme greed for quite a while, if we look at Bitcoin rainbow chart or the logarithmic regression bands, we are still nowhere near those orange and red bands where basically we have an indication that the market is overheating and big pullback is due soon. This massive move up we experienced since, well, basically this bottom here in late January, that was just over a month ago. And well, just 1 month, Bitcoin went from like 38,000 all the way to 64 or 62 at the moment, which is a massive, massive move. This feels a lot like this period in the previous bull market, so early 2021, not 2020, 2021, so about a year after the halving, when we had this massive move up towards 60k and slightly above 60k in early spring, those few peaks, and then crash over the summer. And then we had the actual market cycle peak in November, but that was only a few thousand higher than this one in the spring. Well, basically this move up, a lot of people felt like it was happening way too early in the market. That's why a lot of people were also expecting that Bitcoin will go up to like 300K or whatever, because it was going up so quickly, so early. But if you look at this chart, it's very clear here that the market was overheated. In those early days of 2021, the first quarter or so, we were pretty much constantly in those orange and even red bands. But right now, even with this big move up, we are still very much in green. So even though it feels like, well, the market shouldn't be moving up so quickly, so early, it looks like we still have plenty of potential for growth, which is great. Basically, it doesn't look like a massive pullback is imminent. All that being said, well, this is crypto, so pullbacks of 10 or 20% are perfectly normal. I mean, just yesterday, Bitcoin was moving within sort of plus minus 10% range or so. Today, we are already slightly below yesterday's high, but well, considering that recent move, we are still doing extremely well. So what I wanted to look at in this video is what may happen next and what is my strategy at this point. Well, first of all, there are, as usual, two options. We either continue going up, and then the previous all-time high is, of course, a huge psychological barrier. So we're looking at essentially 70K. There is very good chance if we do have another leg up that will be rejected from that level. If Bitcoin can break above 70K and consolidate above that level, kind of similar what happened here, even if it's just like for a day or two, I think it will be very difficult to predict what will happen in the market. I mean, new all-time high before the halving would be absolutely insane. That never happened before. So we may have some crazy another parabolic move up. Yeah, it will be very strange and hard to predict what may happen next. Much more likely is that we may be rejected from the previous all-time high. Or as a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a bit of a pullback now. I mean, we had just this massive move, which was, if we look at the price range, from that bottom here, that's essentially over the last just over 1 month, I mean, that's close to 70% move up. It's rather crazy. Even if we look at the most recent move, kind of those bottoms here going all the way up here. So basically the last week or so, I mean, that's already 27%. And that's after that previous leg up. So, I mean, this is crypto, anything can happen, but I would be surprised if we just continue going up and up. I mean, sure, that will, I mean, sorry, even if in the middle of the bull run, we still have those big pullbacks, right? So I think we are way overdue one. The good news is that even if we do have one, that shouldn't take us lower than mid 50s, maybe low 50s. I mean, essentially back to this range right here. I think we should be able to basically use those levels around, however you want to look at it, sort of 52 to about 53K level. That should be our bounce area, and then another leg up. Personally, I think we are overdue for a pullback, but I said this in a couple of previous videos and I was wrong. So maybe we'll just continue going up. But in any case, the previous all-time high is certainly big barrier. And I would be very surprised if we just break above it and continue going up. If that happens, that's insanely bullish for this market cycle, because it will probably go beyond anything most people are expecting if we can go this high, this early in the market cycle. But let's not get overly excited just yet. I mean, we still have a long way to go. And if anything, I'm expecting rejections rather than just continued move up. What does it mean for altcoins? I mean, a lot of them been rallying like crazy. CD5 funds been going really nicely up. Altura had a massive move up. Even ApeCoin started moving a little bit. Not that much though. Illuvium is performing really well. D-Race isn't really moving that much, so That's potentially quite a good entry still. Mines of Dalarnia, that's a small one that had a crazy move up, then a crazy crash. Yeah, it's going up and down like crazy. Super, that just continues going up. Absolutely insane. Surprisingly, Link is relatively slow, but that's probably because it's been performing really strongly over, well, quite a while now. So I think that's why it's a bit slower to respawn now. And Veracity, I don't know why I skipped that. That had really strong few days as well. So it looks like all the alts are bouncing up quite nicely or hitting new, well, at least recent all-time highs, which is great to see. But at the same time, conditions like this are quite tricky to trade, because what do you do when the price is moving so much in such a short period of time? Personally, I think that whatever you do, going all in or all out is not really recommended. Basically, you want to hedge your bets, right? The market's been really unpredictable, and we have absolutely no idea whether we'll go up or down from here. If we continue going up and you fully exit at this point, doesn't matter whether we're talking about Bitcoin or altcoins, whatever, they are moving relatively in sync at the moment. But basically, if you cash out because you think that we should have a pullback soon, well, we may have a pullback, but even if we do, how big it's going to be? Even if we dip 20%, which I think is reasonable. I mean, 20% is a big pullback. Anything beyond that, it happens, of course, but it's relatively rare. 20% from now would take us down basically perfectly to this level. So that's quite possible. That's a nice bounce level. That could be a good moment to buy back in. But at the same time, if we just go sideways for a little bit like we did here, and then we have another leg up, even if there eventually is a pullback, you may not be able to buy back even at the current level, right? So that's why I think fully exiting your position is not the best idea. At the same time, FOMOing it right now because everything is going up like crazy. People are talking about new all-time high coming soon and all of that, and you feel like, shit, you already missed your last chance to get in. I don't think that's the best idea either, because after a big move like this, we should have a pullback. So you don't want to deploy all your capital right here, and then the price of Bitcoin goes down 10 to 20%, and alts get hit like 30 to 50%, and you have no more money to buy them, right? So whatever you do, I would say just do it in smaller chunks. If you feel like, okay, you made some nice profit now, exit some of your positions, but keep the rest in case we just keep going up. And if we do have a pullback, well, great, then buy back lower. If we don't, that's fine. You will still have some positions, and the money you made, well, you can either bank it or you can then use it for next smaller upcoming projects, right? So just to quickly sum it up, I was certainly not expecting such a big move this early in the market cycle. Later this year, yeah, definitely, but now it's quite surprising. Second thing, and I didn't really mention it earlier in this video, is that don't assume that just because we had this massive move up, the price will now continue largely going up. If we look at the last two halvings, you can see that actually we had quite a bit of a move up towards the halving. But then after the halving, if anything, the price was either going down or at best going sideways for quite a while, right? Similar thing happened, or even more so, when we had the previous halving, the second halving. We had a massive run up towards it. Then the price dipped significantly below the halving, then went sideways for a bit. Then actually we had a big crash, and then it was very long and slow grind back up. So just because we are going up so nicely at the moment doesn't mean that we won't, for example, hit this yellow band, and maybe we'll actually hit our previous all-time high. But then we'll have a pullback to like 50K or something like that, and we'll stay in that territory for quite a bit. And then we'll have a proper move up later this year and next year. Of course, this market cycle is different. They all are. We didn't have Bitcoin spot ETFs in the past. Crypto is now much more popular and much more accessible than ever before. There's much more awareness around it. Many more people are aware of the halving as well and of four-year market cycles and so on. There are far more people participating in this crypto bull run. So it's certainly quite tricky to navigate this space. But basically, whenever I see a huge parabolic move like we had over the last few days, that makes me a bit worried about what's coming next, because very often there will be some sort of a correction. So like I said, the main takeaway I think from this video is that whatever you do, whether you are buying or selling, don't do it to your whole position, because it's simply impossible to predict which way we go. It's best to still have something left in the market, and then, well, whatever happens, you are kind of prepared for it, right? Hedge your bets. So I think that's it from me for today. There is another video coming up probably around this weekend or just after the weekend, but I thought, well, this, what's been happening over the last couple of days, definitely required a quick commentary. So that's it. If you're relatively new to crypto and you'd like to learn more, you can check out my website, Crypto Like a Pro. I have some courses there. Intro to crypto is only like $29, and it has pretty much everything you need to start your journey in the crypto. And especially if you are interested in altcoins, it covers absolutely everything you need to get started. As always, if you have any comments or questions, put them in the comment section. If you like this content, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.